As you can see here, I'm working on my notches, but this frame actually has a curve to it. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting these pieces into little strips according to kind of how much pitch I think they have as far as angle. So you see right here, I cut it at 2 inches, and down here it's 2 3/4 inches. So that allows me to kind of slowly pitch this angle of this weld back to normal just for end looks. But what I did here, because this frame also gets wider, taller this way, is I actually did the split and or the cut and splice method here. So what I had to do was I got my section cut out to this size, laid it on there, and measured to see how much difference there was here, and then I cut this off, put the top piece on, tacked it, put the bottom piece up, tacked it, and right here it actually allows me a good spot for penetration to add more strength to the frame here. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm welding and bolting all this up, but what you want as much weld and as much bolt action as you can get, I guess within reason. So this little gap here is no big deal. When I go down to this next spot down here though, however, you can see that this is, maybe you can't tell, but this is actually quite a bit smaller than this channel here. So I'm actually gonna have to take like a little 1/4 inch rod or 1/2 inch rod and weld it in this splice right here, because you don't want to weld so much on the frame that it ends up making the frame weaker or warping it. As you can see, I did the same thing over here. Looks a little messy, but it'll look good once it's done. And here's the little spacer I was talking about, just to kind of fill in the void there, because that's just too big of a gap to try and weld on a frame like this. And then also here, because I wanted a bolt in the center of this, I decided not to completely cut this across like this. Instead, I just cut it right here and then kind of pounded it to the shape. So then I have this bigger pie cut kind of area down here, but it gives me the curve that I need. And then I just did the reverse on the bottom here. So that'll end up pretty strong. It'll actually look nice once it's ground. It looks like kind of like bird shit right now, but that's kind of how it goes. Did the same kind of deal up here. Real pain in the butt, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Take your time, man. Take your time. 6.5 hours later. It's all kind of temporarily in there. Started working on welds, did patches at a time, so I'd do here, and then do here, and then I have to let it cool like 1/2 hour because the frame, this thick steel holds metal, or this thick steel holds heat for a long time, so I'd kind of skip around. Got some to do down here yet. And as you can see down in here, I got my first pass, I was focusing on fusing these two panels to the frame itself. So you might be able to see, you can actually see that there's penetration right there, which is what you want. And then my second pass is going to be to cover up the actual gap. Got a little piece of rod in there, gonna start filling all that in. And then I'm going to build a triangle brace, or like a little, it's called a fish plate. So it's going to come out this way, and then down this way, right? Because you want your weight distributed over triangles. So I want to put this here, and then I want to bolt it through this hole. That'll just give it more of a weight distribution along these lines here instead of just all in one spot. And also my 4 link brackets kind of go roughly somewhere around here. So I might end up making a plate that goes from that corner there to this corner and then have it bolt on. That might work out well there. And then weld it on too. Goes up to the rear end. Where those mounts are right there. I gotta put new ones on, but approximately. Front's pretty much done. You can see I got the bolts in there tightened up, and then I just did some basic skip welds. And then what I'm going to do up here, because I am going to box the frame, right? Oops, sorry about that. I am gonna box this frame, and I'm gonna have it kind of sit like this. It's gonna go on top of here, right? And I'm gonna do a keep a little gap and do the weld there. So what I'm gonna have to do, now that I got these good hot penetration welds through here holding the bottom of the frame to this new channel, what I gotta do, grind this flat so I can put this piece of metal on here like such. So just imagine like that. So it goes flat, right, and then comes all the way up here. And that'll basically tie this into here, and it'll in turn tie this into all this. It's really overkill, but hey, I'd rather do it this way than have something bend and tweak. And then I'm gonna have one reinforcement bracket from here to here of some sort. Haven't really exactly decided yet. And then again, box this here. So I took out the Cummins today. I'm taking it up to a buddy's. We're gonna throw on a bigger turbo, some injectors, do some exhaust work, etc. Thing drives pretty nice. I feel bad that I'm gonna have to cut it up, but that's kind of how it goes. It's gonna be a badass street rod. Got some beer for the day, and we're ready to go.
That's his house?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be real, I'm actually getting pushed home right now. I put on this bigger turbo and I think the fuel pump just went out on me or something. A little bit goofy, but what can you do, huh? Got this bad boy with some actual boost. Put a HX35 on there last night. Advanced the pump. Still running stock intake, but I'm gonna be changing that out. Boy, she's happy now. So last night I ripped this old turbo off of my Cummins out there. This is just, I think it's an HY30. It's got the internal wastegate. But what I was really surprised about was how how bad this was in here. Check this out. This is not what you want. That is the worst shaft play I've ever seen. The thing was literally bouncing off of the walls, and I am extremely lucky that it didn't actually blow up and go through the intake and into the motor. You can see it's really bad. Unbelievable. Probably one of the worst ones you'll ever see that hasn't blown up. It's a whole sit. But now I got the HX35 on there, and that bitch is nice. Purrs like a kitten. Got tons of boost. I don't know exactly how many pounds yet, but I'm going to hook up my boost gauge that I got tomorrow and see where she's at. I'm excited. got the truck here in the shop. My donor. Started ripping it apart today. I got almost everything ready, so it's ready to pull. All I gotta do is unhook this ground, kind of get it out of the way, and then unhook the tranny cooler lines from the block, just because they're kind of clamped to it to hold it in place. Got all the AC stuff off. Radiator's out. What's kind of cool about this is it has a big AC radiator down here, and if you look, there's a gap right here, actually between the two coolers. So this top one right here is for the tranny cooler, and this one down here is for the AC. And then down in here, there's another round black thing right there. I don't really know what it is exactly. It's some kind of filter or cooler of some sort. But anyways, it's ready to go. Gonna pull it out probably tomorrow. It's gonna take one heavy ass cherry picker. Either that or I might have to use two. I'm gonna kind of see how it goes tomorrow or whenever I get to it. So there's that. Coming along. Is it gonna work?
I think I need a connector.
Connector? What kind of connector?
Right onto your,
I'll come out and look at it in a second.
filter box, too.
Big boy. So I'm about 17 or 18 days in. I got the motor pulled out of the Cummins last night here. Got it sitting on a little makeshift cart for now. Kind of laid out where it's going to be, except it'll be about 4 inches lower. Frame's coming along. I got the notches are pretty much done in the front here. Got this one here formed in. It's all kind of tacked up, held together right now. I have to go through and weld it all solid, but it's one of those things you got to take your time so you don't end up warping nothing. So tonight I'll end up finishing these notches out. I'll probably have about 40 hours into the 4 notches, so about 10 hours each. Kind of more of a pain in the butt than you'd think, just because you got to drill big holes in this thick plate. Make sure it all lines up right. Make sure all the angles are proper, etc.